Our next race is the Sebring 12 Hours, and here Walter and I have a chance to talk to John and Katzy Mecom. We're in the Mecom garages at Sebring. John Mecom's new Lola and his driver, Walt Hansgen, are in front of the car that is yet untried. Let's ask John what he thinks of his new machine.
We're quite impressed with it, Al. It's a new monocog Lola we just received from England last week, as a matter of fact.
What kind of engine you got in there?
It's a Ford engine right now.
The little one, I understand.
Well, unfortunately, very little at the moment.
Excuse me. Walter, you've taken this car out, and you've given its baptism.
Yes, it's very impressive, and we look forward to it doing very well in the U.S. RRC races this year.
I know a new machine has to get the bugs out of it. John Mecom's been running several Zerex Specials. This is the latest. He has another Zerex Special in the 12 Hours at Sebring. Would you tell us a little about that machine, Walter?
Well, that's a Ferrari 275 LM, of course, which is a very hardy car and has done very well in the past here at Sebring. And, of course, we look forward to it doing well again.
We're giving away some top speed with the Zerex Specials. We know that. There are several cars that are faster, the Chaparrals and the Ford GTs. But in a long race like this, reliability is a big factor, and Ferrari has that. How do you feel about that, John?
Well, it's a 12-hour race, and although these lighter cars, faster cars, may go out and sprint for the first 6 hours, that isn't what will win the race for you. And
we hope not.
No, sir. And I think that the Ferrari we have there, and possibly this car, stand a very good chance of winning.
Good, I hope so. Walt Hansgen here has a very distinguished record in American racing. He's run all kinds of cars. He's been our national champion several times. I've known him since he drove his own Jag Specials many years ago. Lately, he's been running for patrons, let's say, like Briggs Cunningham and John Mecom, coroners. I wonder if Walter would tell us a little about how he feels about being his own boss with his own machine versus running for a team.
Well, for someone in my financial position, it's rather difficult. It was possible years ago because the competition wasn't quite so keen, but with the advent of these extremely expensive cars and very fast cars, an independent has a rather difficult time unless he's very well stacked with money. And Mr. Mecom has the finest equipment and spends an awful lot of money to have it properly done. And it's a great relief for a driver to be able to get in a car that he feels is very well prepared and very safe.
And here's another member of the Mecom Racing Team, an important one, Katzy Mecom, who comes to the races and works with John.
Yes.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, Katzy. Are you going to keep lap charts tomorrow?
I hope so.
Do you know the numbers of your cars?
Yes.
What are they? Don't look.
22 is the main one that I'm interested in.
All right,
this time.
22. This is Katzy. Thank you very much. Walt, here is our old friend, the 275 LM Ferrari that won Road America. I guess for a long grind like the Sebring 12 Hours, the Ferrari has what it takes.
Yes, it does. It's certainly a very reliable car, and it's very easy to drive in a long-distance race. It's not very tiring.
And when the rains came, you were glad to have a roof over your head, weren't you?
I'll say.
Now, this is the first race where we're going to see the new Eric Broadley Lola 70, powered by a 289 Ford engine. Who's that getting in there, Walter?
That's John Cannon.
He's Canadian.
Yes, he's driving with Jack Saunders.
This was a very interesting car. This was the Eric Broadley design, man that builds the Lola cars. You're still driving this machine, aren't you, Walter?
Yes, we've driven it all this year.
Here we are on race day, part of the crowd of 50,000 in aerial shots showing Sebring. I understand the promoters had to turn people away, that they just couldn't get them all in. Here's your Le Mans start, one of the most colorful scenes in racing, Walter. Take it away.
Well, yes. I like the Le Mans start on a circuit like this because it's safe only by virtue of the fact there's so much room.
There was Jim Hall.
Look at Delmo Johnson get out of there in that Chevy Grand Sport. He's really making tracks.
Who's that right on his tail?
I didn't quite catch him. It looked kind of like Richie Ginther, maybe.
Well, that might have been because I think Richie came in first around the first lap. These Le Mans starts are interesting, and as you say, when a course is wide, whoops, there's Ed Leslie. He had some trouble at the start in his Cobra Coupe.
Yes, I think he got caught with somebody front and back here or something. Busted a radiator hose, possibly.
Here we are at the first turn.
It's a Grand Sport leading. And yes, there are 2 GT Fords next.
Well, Richie Ginther did lead the first lap. At least he came in the pits in the first lap. I think that the aerial view of the hairpin, yes, and isn't that Richie coming up alongside of him?
Richie's just pulling out the pass now.
Right. It's interesting to see how quickly
There
he's
he
closing
goes.
in. What do you think he's doing there?
Oh, I would say probably right about there. He's getting in the 4th gear. I'd say probably doing about 130.
Is that the Lola?
Yes.
In 3rd place.
Running
That's not
third,
bad
yes.
for the Zerex Special. Now there's Jim. No, that's not Jim. That's Ronnie Hissam in the other chaparral. Bruce Jennings and Ronnie Hissam run chaparral. Hap Sharp and Jim Hall the other. There's the car that led the first lap. Richie Ginther. Really piling down. Here he
Coming
comes
for
in.
Pit stop.
Yes, I think he thought he had
Zerex
trouble.
Special is leading.
Ginther came in because he had some noises in the brake drums. They turned out to be stones. There's your Zerex Special again.
Yes. Looks like he's getting a little warm.
Now, did he lead for this lap?
Yes, I think he did.
Walter, you know we talk a lot about the beating that the cars take in a long grind like this. They average over 100 miles an hour and get up to around 160 in the straights. They go around this flat 5.2 abrasive course and about 200 times. We don't hear much about the beating that the drivers take. I think it's just as rough on you as it is on the car.
Yes, it takes a lot out of you. You have to concentrate a lot. There's a tremendous amount of braking on this circuit.
My friends overseas say that the 12 hours at Sebring are harder on the car and the driver than the 24 hours at Le Mans.
Yes, entirely true. There's Jack Saunders, other driver in the Lola. John Mecom.
What's going on here?
Well, I think it's come in for a pit stop. I think yes, this is where they found that the fog light moved back upon going off the circuit and hitting something and went through the oil radiator.
That's the end of the Lola for this race, but you're still out there in the Ferrari.
Here comes the Ferrari now. I think this
Look at those clouds. We're going to get some rain.
That's Mark Donohue driving.
This was Mark's first time in a big car, I believe.
Yes, and he did a
Sebring
fine
in
job.
race. Well, he's a good driver.
Yes.
This rain is about as bad as any I've ever seen on a race course. You had almost 2 feet of water in the pit straights, but Walter, you got up to the 3rd spot at 8:30. Another big one for Jim Hall and Hap Sharp, the first American car to win since 1953 when Phil Walters and John Fitch brought one of Briggs Cunningham's own machines in first. Walt, thank you very much for helping out. You are as good a narrator as you are a race driver, and that's pretty good.
Thank you very much. Al. It's been a pleasure.